Perry Mac here, and without a lot of fanfare, let's get to it and take a look at which diesel engine ranks #1 in half-ton trucks for 2020. General Motors introduced the all-new 3-liter Duramax for the 2020 Chevy Silverado and GMC 1500 in June 2019. This rounds out the diesel offerings for half-ton trucks from the big three, Ram, Ford, and GM. Now, if you're a brand loyalist, then it won't matter to you which is the best diesel engine. However, if you're open to some brand exploration, let's take a look at which diesel ranks #1 for half-ton trucks in 2020. There have always been pros and cons to owning a diesel engine, and whether or not you should own one still depends a little bit on your driving, towing, and payload needs. However, many of the cons from previous years are slowly diminishing to the point where your choice of gas or diesel is a matter of wallet size and not necessarily needs. The new diesels are quiet, have great fuel economy, require a little additional maintenance, but open the doors of opportunity for fuel-efficient towing for work and play. You may not take advantage of them this year, but what will you want to tow or haul in 3 to 5 years? Or what if you decide to transform your truck into the ultimate overland vehicle? The Ram EcoDiesel was first introduced in 2011 in the Grand Cherokee, and then in 2014 to the Ram 1500. This second generation VM Motori, an Italian subsidiary of FCA, built engine, is a V6 which generates 240 horsepower at 3,600 RPM and 420 pound-feet of torque at 2,000 RPM. With an EPA-rated fuel economy of 20, 28, 23 miles per gallon city, highway, and combined. By the numbers, for 2020, it is one of the lowest performing engines, but not by much. And since it has a roughly 7-year production run, there is a proven history behind the engine. Call it the devil you know, as Ram has had time to iron out the wrinkles and settle some emission violation lawsuits. The aftermarket has also had time to design and test engine upgrades, so you can save some cash buying a used Ram EcoDiesel and then enhance the engine to suit your needs. The third generation of the EcoDiesel will appear in the 2020 Ram 1500, producing 260 horsepower at 3,600 RPM and 480 pound-feet of torque at 1,600 RPM. With a fuel efficiency virtually guaranteed to top the 30 mile per gallon mark on the highway. Be careful buying the diesel Ram 1500 in 2020 though, as the second gen engine will still be offered in the 2020 Ram 1500 Classic, alongside with the third gen in other trims, including for the first time the off-road equipped mouth-watering Ram Rebel. The unseen, undocumented side of the equation for the second gen is really interesting. The rock-solid design architecture lends itself to aftermarket upgrades that could reportedly boost the engine to over 500 horsepower, which means there will be some great opportunities to get an affordable and powerful diesel truck. The Ford 3-liter Power Stroke ended Ram's solo reign in 2018 when Ford introduced their new 3-liter diesel into the F-150. Like the EcoDiesel, it is a 3-liter 60-degree V6. But in another case of one-upmanship over the second-gen EcoDiesel, Ford has this engine producing 250 horsepower at 3,250 RPM and 440 pound-feet of torque at 1,750 RPM. Now, the extra 10 horsepower that kicks in a little sooner than the second-gen EcoDiesel isn't the big story here though. It's the fact that the extra 20 pound-feet of torque kick in at 1,750 RPM. That's 250 RPM sooner, and they stick around until 2,250 RPM, 250 RPM higher. Behind the wheel, it means more pulling power earlier, and the relatively flat torque curve means it sticks around longer. Bottom line, if you're looking at buying a 2019 3-liter by the numbers, the Power Stroke wins. Ford also managed to squeeze out 22, 30, 25 miles per gallon city highway combined, a 2 mile per gallon bump compared to the EcoDiesel. Although the fuel economy success has to be shared with Ford's 10R80 10-speed transmission. We have 2 great videos just on the 3-liter Power Stroke, and I'll include those links below. And then boom, GM's 3-liter Duramax has landed in the 2020 Chevy Silverado, and once again the landscape has changed. Stepping away from the classic V design, Chevy engineers designed an inline-six turbo diesel that generates a max 277 horsepower at 3,750 RPM and 460 pound-feet of torque at just 1,500 RPM. More torque, and it's delivered sooner than the Power Stroke. And the Duramax delivers it right through to 3,000 RPM. Now, Chevy has pushed some design boundaries compared to Ram and Ford. They've reduced the weight of the engine by moving to a cast aluminum block compared to a graphite iron block, and taken the high pressure rail to 36,250 psi compared to 29,000 in the other two, which has led some detractors of the design to question its longevity, which is typical when a new design technology is introduced. Time will tell if they are right. The engine is mated to a 10-speed transmission, the 10L80, designed in conjunction with Ford. And although at the time of writing the official EPA fuel economy numbers have not been released, we expect the highway number to come in north of 30 miles per gallon, but not as high as the 40 miles per gallon estimated by a number of optimists. We test drove the new configuration in June of 2019 and we're really impressed. It is a peppy, quiet half-ton diesel that has great acceleration and handling for a half-ton truck. It's a shame we weren't able to test the towing or off-road capability at the same time, which is something Ford impressively let us do. Which diesel engine in a half-ton is the best for 2020? We're going to give it to the engine with a track record, the devil we know, and the big potential with a little bit of tweaking. So for us, it's the second gen Ram EcoDiesel, only available in the 1500 Classic in 2020. After that, it's a close race for us between Ford, Chevy, and Ram. We've driven the 3-liter diesel off-road and towing, so I would be confident buying one. And they've had 2 years in production under their belt by 2020. The brand new 3-liter Duramax in the Chevy is really great to drive, and I've had great track record with GM trucks, hauling and towing to the max. And the same goes for Ram, so I have faith in their engineers. Now, no brand is flawless. Do you agree with my choice for the best half-ton diesel engine in 2020? If not, please tell us why, and what would you buy in 2020 in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, share it, smash that like button, and if you'd like to see more, please subscribe. And ring that bell so you're the first to know when a new video comes out. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll see you on the trails.